Hey, rock stars. So the season 5 of the podcast is over, but we're still here creating content, and I just wanted to pop on and do a short video in between these podcast seasons. I'm going to be posting some videos, just sharing some lessons learned, some things to think about, to keep in mind as you're building your career in music. Now, whether you're a musician or maybe a manager, a booking agent, an agency owner, an employee, whatever the case may be, I hope you find some knowledge here on this channel about redefining what it means to be that rock star at your job. Going for the big goals that you want to achieve, but doing it in a way that's sustainable and also making sure that it's fun for you, okay? I've been on that other side. I've been that go-getter working 3 jobs at a time and burning the fuck out. And it was not fun. And I lost my passion for what I was doing. And I wasn't healthy. And I didn't have healthy relationships. And so now that I'm on the other side of things where I see that I can have both of those things, healthy relationships and a life outside of the music industry and a career that I love, and be able to make them both work, it's not always a balance or a perfect scenario, but I don't have to work 16 and 17-hour days, and I can work with people that I love to work with and say no to clients that don't align with me. And it's getting out of that scarcity mindset that just keeps us playing small no matter how big we can dream. So I hope you find some support here on this channel to allow you to not only dream big, but actually take action towards those big dreams in a way that feels manageable and realistic for you. As I promised on my podcast a few weeks earlier, once we hit 300 subscribers, I was going to share with you a talk that I only gave in Austin, Texas at the CD Baby DIY Musician Conference back in August. It was a very real, very raw conversation that we had around grief. And I'm going to share it with you all. And I know it's the holiday season and maybe it's not all sugar plums and fairies and candy canes, but I think it's important to talk about grief, and I think it's an important time to talk about grief. Grief comes in all shapes and sizes, and so I think it's important to share. And so I want to thank Joshua Montgomery for being our 300th subscriber. I hope that you all find it helpful and useful for you, especially at this time of year. So that's going to drop next week. Today I just wanted to pop in with a short little video that I was inspired to share after watching Idina Menzel's Where is the Stage documentary on Disney+. Now, I'm a big Broadway fan. I have binders and binders of playbills. I'm a huge fan of Rent, Wicked, Frozen, you name it. I love everything that Idina Menzel has done, but she hasn't had the easiest of careers, and she's really clawed her way to where she is now. And I've witnessed some of the albums that she released that didn't go anywhere. I remember when she got dropped from her label. And I remember when John Travolta said her name incorrectly at the Oscars, but she really did give a really interesting perspective about her journey and what seemed like wins, but weren't really the wins that she had been hoping for, and things that seemed like career enders that actually were things that catapulted her to the next level. The entire documentary follows her journey to headlining at Madison Square Garden, her main big goal that she's had since she was a little girl. It was interesting in terms of, you know, the thoughts she had around it and what it meant to her. And the fact of the matter is, after headlining Madison Square Garden, she still has to go home and meet her kid after his soccer game and go over his homework with him and tuck him into bed. So, you know, they're not these celestial unicorns, you know, they're people, which I think is great to show us that anything is possible, truly. And I think it's also important to remember that it doesn't just all of a sudden make your life easy or just make your life magical. It's about capturing that moment and honoring it and acknowledging what you've accomplished, but knowing that it doesn't change the fact that, you know, life be lifin'. Shout out to Jordan Gale of System Save Me, who always said, life be lifin'. Like, you know, it's not going, no matter what you achieve in life, you're always going to have those ups and downs to deal with. And so that's why it's important to build a sustainable career. Not only a sustainable career, but a mindset for that career that no matter what you accomplish in life or what you don't accomplish, it's not going to ultimately change your life in this big major way that you might think. It also got me thinking of a few clients who have come to me with this dream of playing Madison Square Garden, and one of them asked me, is that a realistic goal? And I fully, wholeheartedly believe there are no goals that are unrealistic or unattainable. The timelines need to be realistic, and nobody can predict when or how something's going to happen. But we do have to be mindful of certain milestones that have to come before other milestones, and be realistic of, this might be a lifelong journey for me, and I'm okay with that. Or this might not happen the way I'm imagining it to happen, but I still want it. Meaning, Idina Menzel wanted to play Madison Square Garden. She ended up co-headlining with Josh Groban, singing Broadway hits and, traditional favorites. She did not think that that's how she would play Madison Square Garden. She originally thought she was going to be a pop rock singer with, millions of fans all around the world, and, these classic songs that people want to sing along to, and that's how she was going to perform at Madison Square Garden. Well, she does have millions of dedicated fans all around the world. She does have classic songs that people want to sing along to. They just happen to be Broadway and Disney numbers. So, yes, she still writes her own original music, and yes, she was able to perform some original music at Madison Square Garden, but her original music and her career as an alternative pop singer-songwriter is not what got her to Madison Square Garden. That doesn't make it any less real or valid or amazing. And so we don't know what is waiting for us on this journey. And what I wanted to share from my own life is, I am not a singer, I'm not a performer, I am a coach, a mindset and productivity coach, and I sang at Carnegie Hall. In fact, I also sang the national anthem at the Phillies game in Philadelphia way back when. And so I just wanted to share a little background into my life, because I didn't know as a kid, and it was not a dream of mine to sing at Carnegie Hall one day, but I loved Carnegie Hall, and I grew up attending concerts at Carnegie Hall and being in awe of the people that got to perform at Carnegie Hall. And here's how I performed at Carnegie Hall. Okay, so this is my scrapbook from high school, and in 2001, I'm not going to tell you what grade that was, I performed in the National Youth Choir at Carnegie Hall. And my high school was invited to perform along with a few other high schools in the area, and we sang on stage. I have a photo of it somewhere, but I have no idea where I put that. But we were there on the stage at Carnegie Hall, looking out at everybody, seeing all the mics hanging from the ceilings, and we were accompanied by their incredible orchestra, and it was insane. I don't consider myself a singer. I just did it in high school because I enjoyed it. I loved being in choir. I loved doing the musicals. I was never the lead. That just wasn't my thing. And I went on to join the a cappella group and gospel choir and traditional choir at Drexel University. And the a cappella group was invited to sing for a cappella day at the Phillies baseball game. And we sang the national anthem. Now, I sang with 8 to 10 other wonderful women, and we sang the national anthem together. Never did I think that would be something in my history books whatsoever. But stranger things have happened. I know people who have sang it at Madison Square Garden because one of the big finance corporations out there, hello, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and all those things, they rent out Madison Square Garden for events. And if they want a singer, they'll have a singer. The Rangers also play at Madison Square Garden. If you happen to get picked to sing the national anthem, you've sung at Madison Square Garden. So there are endless ways to be there. I know people who have been backup singers for Lauryn Hill, who's played there, but they performed on that stage. Is that any less valid? Maybe you want a more specific goal of playing Madison Square Garden with people singing your original songs. Maybe, and maybe that can happen. But you have to decide for you when you set goals for yourself. It's great to get super specific, but super specific on why you want a goal. Not necessarily super specific on how that goal is going to look or come to life, because that's what limits us. So I just want you to keep that in mind, especially as we come across the new year. Are you getting too specific on what your goal looks like and how you're going to get there? And are you specific enough on why you want that certain goal? And if you have trouble with any of this, we're going to dive deep into this in PLANCHELLA, my free 3-day planning event happening December 27th to the 29th. If you want all the juicy details on what's included, just click on this link. It's in the caption below. And I hope to see you there. Hope this was helpful. See you next week.